Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Our Community with Whitney Prather. Learn about what's happening in Stark and Tuscarawas counties and the surrounding areas. We're going to highlight interesting people, businesses, organizations, churches, events, and even more. Stay tuned. Friends, I hope you're doing fantastic. Today, I am speaking with Tara GRUBBS from Phoenix Rising Behavioral Healthcare and Recovery. Today, we're going to talk about mental health. This conversation is so enlightening and timely. Tara has spent the last 12 years empowering and strengthening individuals and families in their growth and recovery. She wants to share hope and help people who are affected by mental health and their families know that they are genuinely cared about. Stay tuned. Hey, Tara, it is so great to connect with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Whitney. It's great to be here.
You are so welcome. I want to know a little bit more about you. I'm so interested in this topic of mental health. It's a timely topic right now. Tell me about your journey on working in this industry.
Sure. So my journey started in college. I knew kind of at an early age that I wanted to become a mental health therapist. So I graduated from Walsh with that degree. I got my master's degree. While I was doing that, I did some case management work for a while. So I've had a lot of different experiences in the field, kind of from the ground up. So it's been really rewarding experience for me, and found my way to Phoenix Rising in 2008. So I've been with the agency for quite a long time now. And really just love being a counselor and now the director of counseling services.
Cool. That's wonderful. I love that you, an uncommon belief that millennials go somewhere and stay. You definitely stuck. So I love to hear that you started there and in 2008 and are still there and you've grown. What do you do as the director there?
So as the counseling services director, it's pretty straightforward title. I oversee the counseling department. So I do a little bit of a lot of different things, I guess. I work with our management team very closely on new programming, different programs that we can offer our clients from the counseling end, running groups. I supervise a lot of newer professionals in the field, newer counselors, in order counselors with lots of experience. So we all kind of learn from each other. And then also in this role, as I had mentioned, working with our management team and just how can we better serve the community.
Nice. I like how you said a little bit, a lot, a little bit of a lot.
Yeah.
You see this work every day, but how is mental health and addiction impacting our community and our families? Just kind of give us the real deal of how it's affecting us.
Sure. So as being in the field now for about 12 years in a few different roles, I feel that we've broken a lot of stigma around mental health. It's not as stigmatizing to come and ask for help as maybe it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. But don't misunderstand that I think there still is some stigma around it and fear that people have in wanting to, seek services. But I think that there's very few people out there where mental health hasn't impacted them in some form or fashion, whether it's someone in their family, a friend, a clergy member, I think you have conversations with people and that topic oftentimes comes up. So I think that the work that we do here and also in a lot of other similar, agencies in the community is vitally important to helping our whole community. And whether that's treating the addiction that someone's dealing with or the mental health issues that person has.
Yeah. So how does Phoenix Rising Behavioral Healthcare and recovery meet them where they're at? How can people start the path to recovery?
Phoenix, I'm going to brag on Phoenix here for just a little bit.
Thank you.
But Phoenix, that's all about our mission. So our mission is about empowering and strengthening individuals and families and their growth and recovery. And it's truly a blessing to work here and to see that we get to put this work out there every day. And we truly try to meet people where they're at, whether that's where they're at in accepting or not accepting their mental health diagnosis or their addiction. We have, a variety of different clients, all at different points in their growth and their journey. And we believe that people can make positive changes in their lives. And sometimes those are very small and sometimes those are large changes. But we truly try to live out that mission every day with every client that we come into contact with. And that's something that we've held very closely over the years.
Before I met you, I did not know about Phoenix Rising Behavioral Healthcare. So in recovery, it's kind of like a long name. I'm always like, and
yeah.
It stuck with me because you told me the story of how this agency was formed. So tell us that story again, because I thought it was really awesome.
Definitely. So Phoenix Rising, we are a private nonprofit agency, 501(c)(3) company. The agency was formed in 2005 by 5 very compassionate, hardworking, driven women, kind of at the end of another mental health agency closing. They decided that they wanted to start Phoenix. And so Phoenix, the name comes from the bird, the phoenix, so rising from the ashes. And to rise like a phoenix is to kind of overcome, insurmountable setbacks in life. And so I think we have kept that very close to our hearts and truly live out that mission every day. And it's just been amazing to be part of that process, to come on board in 2008, 3 years in, and kind of get started as a grassroots almost agency to where now we have 100 employees and we're in our 3rd office building. Hopefully we're going to stick around here for a while. We have a satellite office in Alliance that opened about a year and a half ago. And so, we really have seen a lot of growth in truly like that emblem of the Phoenix Rising, not only for our clients, but I also have seen that transformation in a lot of our employees' lives as well.
Right. That's wonderful. Thank you for giving us that beautiful overview. So when you're working with clients, how do you work with them? Are they coming into your offices or are you meeting them where they're at? How are you interacting with clients who are on your roster?
Prior to COVID, I feel like probably every person you've had on this radio station prefaces things that way these days. We were all office-based as far as the counseling aspect goes and the medication psychiatric care aspect goes. It was all face-to-face. And then we've always had case managers who are going out in the community and, people's homes, McDonald's, wherever the client wants to meet them to kind of help them get linked to resources, provide them that kind of in-person in their environment support. So COVID has really kind of propelled us forward is how I like to look at it at this point. Trying to put that positive spin on it, but into like the telehealth world. And so there have been a lot of private practices and different agencies who have used telehealth prior to COVID, but typically community mental health centers did not do that. And so COVID in a way has given us this opportunity to kind of get into that world and see what that looks like and to see some of the benefits. So we are currently seeing our clients in person still if a client prefers that. Most of our clinicians are in the office at least a few days a week. Providing those services face-to-face with obviously a lot of PPE and protective measures in place. And then also still doing the telehealth option through a video option is our preferred method.
Good. It's nice to hear that they're still being serviced if they want to do so, virtually.
Yes.
You talked very briefly about some of the barriers, some of the stigmas. I want to talk to you about the common myths, because in certain communities, mental health is still very stigmatized. What are some of the common barriers or objections that you hear when you're working with families or individuals?
So something that I have seen pretty much since I've started is oftentimes you see a lot, I guess, first to speak to that, Whitney, I want to talk a minute about trauma. So there's, I think a lot of our clients, if not almost all of our clients, have experienced some type of trauma in their life. And we talk about trauma being big T trauma, little t trauma, and big T trauma kind of meaning those catastrophic events. So, the pandemic or a war or somebody, dies right in front of someone or is shot, things like that. And little T traumas, a parent's divorce, having to switch schools, maybe parents relocate for work, things like that. Bullying can kind of go in either category depending on the extent of it. But to speak back to your question as far as, what kinds of barriers or stigmas or myths do we kind of come up against? I think a lot of times in families, things are normalized that, oh, grandma, so-and-so, they're just, a little different, or, that's just how our family is, or this is just how we do things. And I think, that speaks into a larger scale, and you see it more in different parts, our community. And I think every community is different in that. And definitely there's certain populations who probably experience more stigma than others based on maybe religious belief systems or, just like I said, because of their family system or where they come from. And I think what happens a lot in society is we normalize these experiences and we say, this is okay, this is normal. Everyone in my family drinks. Everyone in my family has been alcoholics, things like that. And we normalize those things. And so therefore, I think maybe somebody in the family questions, well, maybe this isn't normal, or maybe this doesn't feel right to me. This is upsetting to me, or, I'm scared because my mom's not stable, her mood's all over the place, kinds of things. And so oftentimes what we see is somebody's brave enough maybe to call or to seek services. And they're oftentimes that first generation that's breaking that cycle.
Yeah, lots of generational stuff happening in families. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this would be a perfect moment to just kind of stop and say, like, if anyone is listening right now, they can definitely get the assistance that they need, and the support that they need. They can get tied into community resources, but where can they find you guys?
We are located, you can find us we have a Facebook page. If you search Phoenix Rising, we have an Instagram account. We have our website, which is phoenixrisingBHR.org. And you can call us at our number is 330-493-4553. We are located in our main office in Canton, is downtown across from the Palace Theater at 624 Market Avenue North. And then we also have an satellite office in Alliance on State Street.
Nice. Those are all the places. You guys are in a lot of places.
We are.
Mental health is just top of mind right now in the midst of the pandemic. It's something that is very robust. I feel like we're hearing a lot about it in the news. Just, wanting to check in on how people are doing, because there's so much change that has happened because this is the field that you work in, Tara, and I know it's interesting to you, what are some of the thoughts that you have surrounding this pandemic as it relates to mental health?
So I think, Whitney, we've seen a lot of people, especially in the last few months, reach out for services, maybe people that had never needed services or wanted services before the pandemic. And I think it's fair to say that if everyone's honest with themselves, all of our mental health is a little heightened right now, or anxiety, or if you're maybe prone to depression, anxiety, or more severe mental health issues. This pandemic, I think, has just taken all of that to another level. And so, like you had said, I would really encourage people to reach out, to get help, to talk to someone. A lot of isolation right now. We are, seeing a lot of people relapsing who maybe had a long time of sobriety, unfortunately. And, different programs out there, AA and different support groups and things like that, I know are trying to do things virtually or even safely in person. And, just encouraging people to reach out to their support system, even if they can't see them physically. As humans, we're meant to be social creatures. And I think that this is it just weighs on people. And I also sit on the Stark County Suicide Prevention Coalition. And so on, that too, those thoughts, people maybe who never had those thoughts before, they lost a job or, family members to COVID, and just encouraging them to reach out, to talk to someone, call the crisis hotline, even if you don't want to go get established with an agency.
Yeah. So what kind of I don't want to say advice, but what kind of go-to tips would you suggest for people who maybe, going to an agency is not the thing for them because it's just not that severe. But like you said, everybody's mental health is important and it's all kind of being jabbed at right now. What kind of tips would you suggest us doing just in our daily lives to bring that calm and that peace? What have you been doing? What has your staff been doing?
So we call it in our field self-care, but I think every field needs to use some form of self-care. Every parent, every caregiver, especially these frontline workers, all of us, we need to use self-care. And I think for each person, it's a little bit different. It's what do you like to do? What are your interests? I know personally, if I don't like something, I'm not going to probably continue to do it. I might try it, but I'm not going to keep doing it. But for me, it's, really a lot of mindfulness practices and just trying to stay in the moment when I notice I'm drifting about, whatever it might be, worrying about the future, worrying about, the pandemic or what have you. Just really trying to be mindful of what do I have in this moment to be thankful for and those types of things. We like to use a lot of deep breathing exercises. Visual imagery is great as far as trying to kind of imagine, calm, safe places to go and just establishing some feelings of safety. And, trying to maintain my normal practices on a day-to-day basis with exercise and healthy eating habits and things like that. And obviously that waxes and wanes. But just, I think it's easy to kind of get sucked into everything that's going on in the media or, around you, or just the anxiety that people have of the unknown. So I think just trying to really stick to some of those basic things that you normally would do, as much as you're able is important.
Yeah. Gosh, you said a mouthful with that. A couple of points. Deep breathing. Wow. I never realized how important that was, to just take a deep breath, and then breathe out. That is crucial. I think sometimes we don't even realize that we're not breathing on a regular cadence.
Yep.
And then also maintaining the exercise, eating well, using your imagination. It's about returning back to the basics. And like when we were children, we used our imagination a lot. And we need to get back to that. God just kind of revealed to me a while ago that imaginations were there for a reason. They weren't just like this idle, thing, that they could actually be like a superpower. And I just think about like children and how they can just really have a sense of peace because they don't constantly have this news drip happening. And I think for me, it's been really nice to unplug and listen to things that I enjoy. Tara, have you ever heard of Adventures in Odyssey? Have you ever heard of that program?
I haven't. No.
Girl. Okay. So I think I first started actually listening to it like on this station. I don't know if they still air it actually, but they used to air it. And it's a children's program. But it is so, I don't know. I think I was listening to it one time in my early 20s and had never heard it. I never grew up with like Christian programming or anything like that, but I listened to it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because within the last week, me and my daughter have started to listen to it. And I didn't realize how much joy this program, it's like a 30-minute children's program, gave me. And she was so into it. So the fact that she's old enough to start, we can have this practice of bonding over it. And I just really encourage people. And I thank you for encouraging people to do some of the things that we used to do, get back to the basics, take deep breaths, listen to Adventures in Odyssey. They have like it on, I'll send you a link actually, because it's like really good.
My kids would love that.
Yeah. It's like, faith-based teaching, but it's not like all about, like they really have some great adventures.
Okay.
And they walk through like real life issues. Like the episode that we listened to was someone, stealing a book report or, it's just good stuff, but it's getting back to the basics. Okay. So, since we were talking about school-aged children, do you have any tips for parents on how to start these healthy conversations?
Yeah. I think, being a mom myself and working with kids, not so much now, but I did a lot of that work earlier in my career. I think a lot of times we want to shelter them from everything. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's just a natural response as a parent that you have. You want to protect your children, right? And not that I think we should lay everything on them either, but I think when they start to bring up their questions or their fears or their concerns, and, I know through this pandemic, a few times my kids have said things like, about not being able to go to school, or when the virus is over, Mom, we can go back to doing so and such and such. And it like breaks my heart. But I've learned instead of kind of pushing that away, I lean into that a little bit more and just kind of talk to them and say, well, you're right, but what are some things that we can do right now? Or what things are you worried about because of the pandemic? So kind of taking those opportunities, I think, instead of maybe trying to gloss over it or sugarcoat it, or, just to sort of normalize their feelings, validate their feelings, and just kind of give them truthful information at their developmental level. Yeah, it's important because, they are way more resilient than what we give them credit for. Yeah. But it's important to connect the dots for them. Yeah. And you're right. Just, share with them what they need to know. Don't overburden them, but to offer them the details as you see fit. I think in the beginning, a lot of us were like, I don't even think we mentioned it in our house. Right. Like for some reason, like I was just like, don't say the word. But now we definitely talk about it and how it's affecting. And we even think about, what we could be doing if they're like, we use our imaginations and we go outside and, we picture,
a pool or, you can do little things to satisfy them in the moment. And there's not such a sense of loss. And then being okay if there is a sense of loss there, and talking about it. So very good tips.
Yeah, I think kids keep us grounded. At least for me, I know sometimes, like, if I'm having a rough day, I can go home and kids are happy with simple things, and so it really gives me that opportunity to spend time with them and just do, like, the basic things, like we made Christmas cookies over the weekend and, we watched Christmas movies and went and looked at Christmas lights. So instead of all the things we can't do, once again, being grateful and focusing on what can we do, and knowing that eventually we'll be able to, get back to the things that we're missing right now.
Right. New traditions for sure. Yeah. Well, it has been so good to connect with you. I loved learning about your journey and how you've grown in your career. And I loved learning about what Phoenix Rising is offering the community. It is really, really important. And I think we all really know that because, wow, what a change. I mean, we couldn't have imagined this. And it just makes us so grateful for people like you who help people who are going through a really rough time. It makes us look at all of those professions, very like, the frontline workers, the teachers, the counselors in a different light. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Whitney. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say let's put a pin in this until next time.
Okay.
And I am so excited that you came on the show, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Whitney. I appreciate you having us on.
Thank you to our guest today, and thank you for tuning in. Cheers. Until next time.